You're listening to Inside IASB, a podcast series dedicated to informing and encouraging Illinois School Board members. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. My name is Isaac Warren. I'm the Director of Digital Communications at the Illinois Association of School Boards. And with me today, I have Dara Marino here, and we're going to talk to her about her new role as the Assistant Director of Sponsorships, a brand new title that we have here at IASB. And we're really excited to bring her on and discuss what that means for the association. So thanks for coming on the podcast, Dara.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Isaac.
So first, to get started, can you tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to this role as the Assistant Director of Sponsorships?
Sure. So previously, I served as a curriculum director in many educational programs, and I taught preschool through 8th grade for the past 16 years.
Wow.
I began as a teacher's aide and then a lead teacher. And then once I finished college, I moved up to teach higher grades of 6th through 8th grade. And once I realized that I couldn't really move up in my school that I was teaching at anymore, I wanted to branch out and start something new. And it was always exciting to be working for Association of School Boards. So starting this position has been really fulfilling and exciting for me.
And it's so cool to hear everyone's, other people in the podcast usually have an education background as well. So it's really cool to hear how diverse that education background. I mean, my mom was a teacher as well. So
small world.
Yeah, right. And so it's just really cool to have that education background because you've kind of like been at the school understanding how they operate. You know what I mean?
Right.
How the association can impact decisions at the school level.
Yeah, it's beneficial when you have a teacher hat and you can see what students need. And from previously teaching, it was also helpful to hear what parents need too.
Yeah.
So working for the Illinois Association of School Boards, I believe, serving members is somewhat relative to how we would serve our parents and educators and students.
So since this is a newly created position, can you share what your main responsibilities will be and how you envision this role evolving?
My responsibility is to build and maintain alliances with other organizations to secure sponsorships for IASB programs, services, and events that support local school board governance and public education. It's my job to oversee the fulfillment of sponsorship benefits, and I serve as the primary point of contact for sponsoring organizations. If they ever have any questions or issues, I'm the one who can assist them. I see my role helping to move the association forward by working to develop a comprehensive sponsorship strategy that helps to generate non-dues revenue for IASB and to provide our sponsors with exposure to new and existing clients through our high caliber programming. I see this role evolving with adding more partnerships and turning these partnerships into friendships.
Wow, that is very comprehensive.
Right?
And I think that it's really cool because the Illinois Association of School Boards, we at the association have so many potential clients for sponsors.
Many.
And it's really cool that we want to kind of bridge the gap and we have this huge audience that needs certain services. And that's like inside and outside the classroom. We can, if you need a new school building built, we've got construction and things like that. So it's really cool to see the diversity of sponsorships that we offer.
Oh, yes. We try to give them what they need in whatever aspect and area that may be.
Yeah. And so kind of thinking about long and short-term goals in your role, what would you say those goals are for the sponsorship program?
I would say my short-term goal is familiarizing myself with my sponsors on a first-name basis and knowing their company's services. Long-term, I would like to add more sponsors to our joint annual conference and introduce new partnership opportunities. I also want to be able to attend their events and build ongoing business relationships. And
I think that's really critical, the two-way relationship with the sponsors, because it's not just them coming to us and that's it. We're going to them too and going to their events and want to make sure that we're present and visible
Absolutely.
to them. Because I think that, it's what kind of relationship would that be if
one-sided?
One-sided, right?
Yeah. Right. We have to be there for them and what they need, and also be there to support them and their values and their programs as well. And the more I can support them, the more I can show up for them, it'll just really benefit me in the end by familiarizing myself with them and their program and how it benefits public education.
And that really speaks, I think, to the overall goal of our association is trying to build those personable connections, and not make it quite as transactional. It's just the personability is very important, especially in the world we're living in. We're very digital and very online, and
Correct.
kind of lose that face-to-face interaction.
Oh, you do, especially with everything being electronic too.
Yeah.
Where phone calls aren't as prominent and face-to-face isn't as prominent. That's why I want to do my best as I can to show up for our sponsors and be there physically.
Yes.
To get to know them and to create a more solidified friendship through the partnership.
Absolutely. I think that's brilliant. Kind of talking about not just a lot of the relationship aspects of sponsorships, it does require a lot of creative thinking and formulating, what sponsors to bring on, and maybe an audience that a lot of people maybe don't consider a lot. What would you say your approach is to innovation in your work?
So I try to always think about what services our schools need and what vendors can students utilize the most. I try to put on my educator hat and think about what teachers and students need to learn effectively. I always try to make sure I give ample time to conduct research on what services school administrators utilize, and I consider the important budgeting decisions boards of education are involved in. Previously and currently, I've been looking into other state board associations and what they do, and also thinking outside of the box at other sponsorship packages that are out there. There are some great professional development resources available too that not very many people are aware of. I can get valuable insight from our existing sponsors and education innovators.
Very cool. On our website, we have sponsors and sponsored programs. Could you talk about what those two differences are and maybe how they're related?
Sure. So our sponsors are basically school services or school vendors that we can utilize to have them display their services and illustrate their services for one of many events, whether that's the joint annual conference or division meetings. And we also have an equity immersion that kicks off at the beginning of conference. And soon we'll even have more events that they have those types of opportunities. So our sponsored programs are very close partnerships that we have with IASB, and those offer services such as like cleaning and sanitation, financing solutions, drug and alcohol testing, school safety, also superintendent and administrative evaluations, and even more. So if you're looking for a certain service, we have a sponsored program who can provide it for you.
Can a company be both?
Absolutely. It's actually quite beneficial to be both. So if we have a sponsored program that also wants to sponsor in the joint annual conference, it would only create more brand visibility, more recognition. It would just make the program or the one sponsoring, it would just make them more apparent and more known within the event. Whenever you go somewhere and you see a logo and you meet the person, it has more of a personal impact than just seeing their name or hearing their name online. So I believe, it can be very beneficial to be in both.
And, speaking of the joint annual conference, it's definitely the biggest opportunity for sponsors to get their name out there. Their logos are everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's hard not to see it. So
yes.
It is a very cool place to see. And not only that, but have a physical presence and put a name to a face.
Oh, yes. You can see them in the exhibit hall, hanging banner signage. You can see them within the conference app, and also verbal recognitions. It's everywhere.
I mean, sitting here, I can see you're very passionate about this and your role as assistant director of sponsorship. So what excites you the most about your new role, and what are you looking forward to the most?
The most, I would say, I love coming up with custom sponsorships. I love to share logos and learning at what our other sponsored programs offer. And I love doing business with multiple corporations. It's so exciting how this company offers this and this company offers that, and how all of these services are kind of like an umbrella of how they can make our districts better, basically. I really enjoy communicating with other organizations and hearing about their values and how they tie into our core values as well. Best of all, I love how every service that we contract with leads to benefiting education for Illinois schools.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that networking desire is very, very needed in this role, right? And I remember, it feels like you've worked here for years now because of just how well you integrate with the association, I mean, really, it's just you get along with everyone so well. And I think it's really cool. Yeah. That speaks to your ability to network very efficiently. Thanks.
I really enjoy getting to know people. I feel like the more you can communicate with people, get to know them, you can all utilize each other, So, I mean, I'm also really looking forward to conference.
Yes.
And meeting my sponsors face to face and attending their events and hearing more of their story.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, the more personable impacts that we have each other, the more we remember them. So they can be like, oh, next year we would like to do this, or, oh, I can refer to you if I want to start this service and such. So
yeah, I'm
totally
agree.
Looking forward to conference because, thousands and thousands of attendees.
Yes.
I've only attended previous educational conferences. So now doing the Illinois Association of School Boards and IASBO and IASA.
Yes.
Yes. So it'll be exciting to see everyone there and meet everyone.
It is really cool to see how integral a sponsorship can be at the joint annual conference, especially with the long lasting ones that have been there year after year after year. And people recognize them very well and know the big dogs.
Exactly. Exactly. Because we couldn't do it without them.
Yes.
The premier sponsors and the legacy sponsors, our longtime sponsors, we appreciate their value and partnership tremendously here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's my job to make sure that I have everything they need. And I'm very excited to meet them.
Yeah, absolutely. My final question for you, is there anything that you'd like to share with our listeners about your role or your vision for the future?
My vision for the future is just to continue to grow, continue to learn, continue to be a point of contact for all of our sponsors. And I want my listeners to truly know that I value relational business more than transactional business.
Yeah. Again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, that personability of relationships and making it very authentic is very critical in our role as an association, but also especially in your role as sponsorships.
I agree 100%.
Well, if anyone is wanting to reach out to you about a potential sponsorship opportunity, how can they do that?
So my email is provided. They can certainly give me a phone call anytime, but dmarino@iasb.com. I'd be happy to speak with you and happy to assist you in any way possible.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Dara, for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate you talking about your new role. It's very exciting, and I'm very excited to see what happens in the future and how it evolves as we continue as an association.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me, Isaac.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for listening to the podcast, and thank you for your dedicated volunteer service to public education. If you'd like to stay up to date with future episodes, please consider following us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube Music. Have a comment or question? We welcome listener feedback and invite you to leave us a voicemail via the link in the description or send us a voicemail at communications@iasb.com. Thanks.